Hey guys, welcome. It's Rorik here from BeeWareOnline, and we're celebrating World Bee Day 2023. And today we've got a fantastic guest, Yolanda, who's living in Gauteng, right? Yolanda?
Yes, that's it.
Oh,
Pretoria.
in Pretoria. Okay, fantastic, man. Well, thanks for joining us today, and tell us about you. What do you do? What are you doing with bees and stuff?
Thank you so much, Rorik, for your time and inviting me. My name
Oh,
is
you're
Yolanda
welcome, eh?
Loertz. My name is Yolanda Loertz. And yes, I'm from Gauteng, Pretoria. I used to be a teacher. Now, that was my passion,
Okay.
teaching kids.
Which age?
And well, I started this nursery school up
Okay,
until,
you got them young then, eh? Okay.
yes, from the youngsters. I really like them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
from 2018, I started receiving what I would call as a calling from God. And I believe that He wanted to try to show me that bees are busy becoming an endangered species. And awareness must be made amongst our children, who is also our future generation, about the importance of honeybees.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
I started doing research on honeybees and how essential pollinators they are for our food crops and for the environment. So through that, me and my husband started making learning aids and posters. We also reached out to the Northern Beekeeping Association, which we are part of.
Yeah,
And
fantastic.
they helped us with a beehive. They gave us a bee suit for
Wow,
learning
brilliant.
equipment. And then we gradually, and part-time, I started providing educational bee talks at schools in Pretoria. And the interest became so much that December last year, 2022,
Yeah.
I resigned my job as a teacher.
Wow.
And today I'm a
Brilliant.
full-time beekeeper and I present educational bee talks at schools. I'm really living out my
Wow.
passion.
I got
I'm
goosebumps.
enjoying every moment.
That's awesome, Yolanda. Well done to you. Excellent, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that was 2018, and so 2020, 2 years, and you in bees full time now. And it's an interesting way. It's an interesting path that you're taking, because most people, I think, take it, if you're going to get into beekeeping, you want to do it full time, you have to get 500 beehives and all this sort of thing, and pollination and no. But actually, you've proven that there's lots of different ways, of being able to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yes,
what a blessing. So
we
what a
are just
blessing for you. Say again?
We're just hobbyist beekeepers. So we're not going way out. We are just keeping bees to learn more from them.
Yeah.
And harvest honey so that we can give the children at schools so that they can taste.
Yeah.
And we also give the children packets of seeds at school so that they can help the bees with bee food to plant.
Great, man. That's a clever idea. Yeah. So I've spoken to a couple of a friend of mine runs a sustainable what do you call it? Like survival growing group, and that's what one of their kids does. They don't just do bee seeds, but they do all kinds of heirloom seeds, which are basically seeds that haven't been genetically modified or changed since they became seeds, basically, and plants.
That's wonderful.
And he's like 13 years old, and he had a website and alles. And basically, I said to them, "Why don't you do a pack of these for bees?" The same sort of idea. So it's phenomenal. Yeah, very cool thinking. Nice, well done. I like it. So you gave it to the kids. You tell them how nicely the bees need the flowers need the bees. What do you cover? To give us a brief. What would you say, and what age are you talking to?
Well, I do talks from 2 years up until high school.
Amazing.
17, 18 years. So we also part-time provide first beginner beekeeping courses, but we don't really have a lot of time for that. So in my talk at schools, I cover the importance of bees as pollinators for our food crops and for the environment, for the quality of the food. We also talk about the dangers our honeybees are in, and the reasons why bees are busy dying out. Causes of air pollution, vandalism, pesticides, erosion, land development.
Yeah, that's
We
a big
do
one.
talk to the children about that, but we make it in a fun and interactive way by using learning aids.
Okay.
We show the children posters, especially the younger ones, so that they can understand. And we have a honeybee puppet. Her name is Blossom.
Oh, cool.
Our project's name is Bee Save. So we like to dress up the little ones as well. So we dress them up according to the different jobs that the worker females do, from
Okay.
birth up until the last job as scout. So we dress them up according to their jobs so they can just understand them better.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
clever. I love it.
we really catch their attention when we tell them, we show them pictures of delicious hamburgers, and we show them pictures of pizza and of ice cream and of other foods that comes from
all the good stuff that parents
all the
want their
good
kids
stuff.
to be
Yes.
eating, eh?
We show them all of this that they really love, and then we tell them that without bees, any of this won't exist, and we just take all the pictures away. And then they look at us strangely because they don't understand, they don't make the connection. And then we tell them that indirectly, honeybees pollinate the food that our livestock eat. So without livestock, we won't have any eggs or milk.
Exactly.
We won't have any vegetables or fruits. And then I show them a basket, and I tell them that when you go to the grocery shop, the only thing you would be able to buy are things like sugar and mealie pop and things like oats. And all of those things are not dependent on pollination from bees. But I asked them, do you think you would be healthy if you only eat those foods? And then they would agree, and they would say no. They agree.
Great, man. Oh, it sounds amazing. Yeah, well done to you guys.
I really
It sounds
enjoy
excellent. Yeah, man. If I'd had more time when I started out, I would have done the school talk thing as well. I think it's phenomenal. It's probably the best way that you guys can be what I call bee ambassadors. You know, what anybody as a beekeeper can do is becoming a bee ambassador. Is one of our mottos we teach on our courses and on my online academy and stuff like that. Is to talk to the kids. Because what happens is the kids go home. I'm sure they do, right? I'm sure you've heard lots of stories. You can tell me some stories. Tell us some stories. They've gone home, and what happens?
Yes. Afterwards, I receive pictures from crafts that they've started making, the seeds they've planted that started to grow.
Yeah.
They send me voice messages where they just thank me again so much for the talk. They send me pictures of bees sitting on flowers, busy pollinating, collecting nectar.
Oh man,
they
amazing.
feel so inspired. So that fear of bees, understanding bees better, just turns into fascination.
That's it.
And suddenly they are just amazed by honeybees and how important they are.
Yeah.
And it just feels amazing to be able to help kids understand that.
Yeah. And I think what the indirect benefit is, of course, is they go home and they can't stop talking about this to mom and dad. And Umi and Opa and uncle and auntie and all the cousins, you know? And that's how I was when I started back like 2 decades ago. I was like, I wasn't even a kid, but I felt like a kid inside. You know, when I learned about bees, I couldn't stop talking about them for about 3 months. So like literally every day. It was bad.
It's a passion.
It was actually bad, but it was a passion in a good way, you know? But I think it's awesome because then the parents like pick up, you know, and then they also hear, I think they hear the passion, they hear the care and the kind of like, and the parents then also probably also help draw the dots, you know, join the dots as well over time, which makes the parents think twice about things too. So it's like an idea cycle, you know, like we have the food cycle or the food, you know, the food chain. It's like an idea chain. You know, get the kids in, get them to learn about it and get fascinated and passionate, and then they go home and then they teach the auntie, the uncle, and the mom and the dad, and then it goes round again. You know? Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's like a roundabout, but it's also it's awesome. So yeah, that's just brilliant. Well done to you guys. But listen, how do you guys know Bee Ware? We
actually live near Centurion, and Centurion Bee Ware is the closest beekeeping supplier from us.
Okay, cool.
But also through Bee Ware, we met Hannes Grobler, who will also
Yes.
provide bee courses for Bee Ware.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And we have attended one of Hannes's courses for Bee Ware
Yeah.
before.
Oh, great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Hannes is a great guy. He's worked with us for ages and ages now. So yeah, we worked together for a long time with back in the day. But it's good that
And you
he's
can see
because I used to do the training, and then he took over from me. Yeah,
he's just as passionate about
I
what he
know,
does.
it's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm full of info. I mean, the amount of knowledge between the two of us when we get together, it's a gedunte, eh? It's quite a story. And but we also teach, we also help, like there'll be something I've learned that he might not know, and vice versa, and so on. So it's really cool. It's
You just
really
keep
nice.
on learning.
That's it. And I mean, he had two decades, and he's also been around the block a long time too. So between us, we're still learning. So you must know, when I got involved with bees myself, it was not only was I like, my mind was blown away and I couldn't stop talking for 3 months about them. But then I realized, hang on a second, because I read the blue book twice in like 6 months. The first time it was like a bit of overload. And then the second time I was like, I missed that. You miss things in the beginning, the first run. And the second one, I was like,
Then it makes sense.
okay. Yeah. Then the penny starts dropping. But that was just the beginning, because then you start talking to old toppies, and you start talking to, the guys that have been around for 30, 40 years and whatever. You learn from them. And then you find out about the Americans, and then you find out about all the other oaksies. And just talking to your fellow beekeeper, they'll know stuff, as you know. And even the kids, the questions they're going to ask you, right? I mean, tell us some questions that you must get. That's like, hang on a second, where did that come from?
The first thing that grows them out is the idea that the honeybees vomit the nectar into each other's mouths. So they think they're eating bee vomit.
Yeah.
And a
Not far
regular
from the
question that I
truth.
get is, how does a drone mate with the queen?
Oh.
So it's really a sensitive topic to talk about.
I'd imagine. Yeah. Got a tiptoe around that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Just a few funny things. When I just talk to them about the different jobs that they do, they just can't believe how one bee can do all these kind of different jobs according to her age.
Yeah.
And then whereas the ant, when he's born or when she's born, she's appointed one job for the rest of her life.
Yeah, it's the same thing over and over.
Amazing how you can capture them when you are really passionate about what you are talking about, and then you just capture them in that moment. And then when they realize how important honeybees are, it's just, and the feedback that I get, it's just amazing. It just makes me look forward to every talk that I do.
Yeah, man, it's really, when you get the kind of responses, those kind of responses just, kind of fills you up, doesn't it? Overflowing, really. Eh?
No,
Would you say? That's how I felt when I was doing the courses full time and everything. Yeah, exactly that. And that's why I'm still doing stuff like this today, because, I really do believe in the bee ambassadorship type of thing. The more we doing talks like this inside the industry, the more people outside of the industry be like, wow, really? Is that what bees do? And that's how they work, It's awesome. So thanks to you guys as well for doing what you're doing. It's just amazing. Really, I appreciate you guys. Proud of you guys. Well done. It's really good work that you guys are doing.
And we'll keep on doing talks as long as we can, because children must be aware of this. They are our future.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I feel like you've already asked this question though, like, why bees? You just spoke a little bit about it being a calling, right? So yeah, was that and 2 years later, so 2018, you got sort of calling and you felt this was something you wanted to get into, saving the bees, that kind of thing. And then 2 years later, you're now full time. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm just recapping this in my mind, because that's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty awesome.
So when I received the calling, I didn't really think much of it. But then I started seeing signs, more signs of bees, pictures of bees, and in the storybooks that I told the children, I saw the publisher with a picture of a bee. And then I started doing research. That's when I learned how essential they were and that they're in danger. And from there on, it all started to make sense that I'm a teacher. I've got a passion for children. And I started learning about honeybees. I went for a course. And that first course I went to, the first course that I went to was just amazing. It was intimidating, opening a beehive, all of the bees flying around you.
Yeah,
but
can get a bit mad, eh?
It was then that
Did you?
bait, like they say in Afrikaans.
Yeah, okay. You got
to
stung,
grow.
yeah. Did you guys? Was it the my mad girls that you opened up on that day, on the training day?
It was quite a big colony. Yes.
It was my mad ones, the mad girls. They're the ones are like they're like kamikazes. They get thoughtful, they get like crazy mad. Was it that one that you guys opened up that day?
Doesn't matter how much you smoke them, they were mad.
There you go, boss. We don't open that one very often, but we have to, obviously, because it needs maintenance and all that sort of stuff. But those girls. And Hannes has said to me, why don't we replace the queen? I'm like, nah, that's one of my best producers.
Yes.
So you got to take. I've said to him, I'd rather not that I'm taking the stings much anymore at this stage in that particular colony, but I said to him, when I was running those colonies in Midrand, I was like, nah, I was still going to take the sting. I only work that hive on that day. Whenever I'm working, I only work that hive, because if I open all the others, they all get upset, obviously, because that one's so vicious, so to speak, or aggressive. I wouldn't say vicious. It's not their fault. They're just more defensive. It's just the nature of that colony. So I only opened that one on that day. But I tell you what, they give us, it's the best producer out of all the colonies that we use there in Midrand at our site, the training site. So yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, I think. But so where do you guys see your business going, or this your training and what you guys are doing and the teaching and stuff for the schools? What's next for you guys?
Well, in our country, beekeeping and beekeepers, they are not enough. So we are sure that our mission, when going to schools and providing our educational talks, we will be inspiring children to become beekeepers one day, to build the beekeeping industry in South Africa. This is our goal and our mission. So yes, it was to go to schools in our country and then to teach children as our future generation about the importance of bees, but not just that, to inspire them to become beekeepers one day, so that we can have more local honey, more beekeepers, and more bees in our country as they are busy dying out.
That's it. And I mean, there's also this issue of fake imported honey coming into the country, undercutting the beekeepers as well, the local actual beekeepers that are in the business, trying to make a living out of it, trying to keep the bees safe and managed in an industry that has a lot of challenges, as it is, between vandalism and theft and things like that, fire, pesticides, urbanization, all these things you mentioned earlier on as well. And then we've got to contend with fake honey coming in at low prices, so it's sugar. It's not even honey, it's just sugar, liquefied sugar, it's terrible. So the more beekeepers we have, the better we're going to be able to form an industry that can have more say and a voice, I suppose, with government and things like that, and import tariffs, those kind of things I think are important at the moment. It's teaching the kids, it's teaching everybody really to try and try and get your honey from beekeepers, right? And maybe not so much from shop shelves.
So we do with
Because
every talk, we do raise this awareness about fake honeys, adulterated honeys in
yeah,
shops. So we don't just talk to the children, but the teachers who are also listening.
right.
We then tell them that if you go to the shop and you take a bottle of honey from the shelf, if you look at the back and you see it's been imported, then you know that's a clear sign that that honey's been irradiated, it's been heated, and it doesn't contain any more medicinal values. And then we tell them, if you buy raw honey, you shouldn't heat it up above 38 or 40 degrees. Otherwise, you won't benefit from it.
Yeah.
So it's best to just buy local from your local beekeeper. Then you know you will have raw honey that's not been heated. It's not been tempered in any way. So you can still benefit from it.
That's it. That's it. I mean, there's even this synthetic honey that's being produced in Israel now, which I think is going to just throw a whole toolbox in the works, never mind a spanner, with the fake market that's already going on, which is worth billions around the world, you know. And it's coming. It's been at our doorstep for years. I still remember seeing drums of the stuff at a port about 10 years ago already, and that stuff. That stuff, and that's also what brings diseases into the country, and it then damages our whole local beekeeping industry, the national, even African beekeeping industry, because then you end up having the varroa coming in, and then you could have, what are the American foul brood, which is what was here earlier anyway, and resurfaced. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but there are challenges, and I think we have discussed those a bit. But now, opportunities. Where do you see? You've talked a bit about opportunities going forward in the industry or for beekeepers. Where do you see things going for the industry? Let's say 3 to 5 years from now. Where would you like to see it going?
Well, at the moment, our country, we don't have enough resources, and there's not enough sustainable beekeeping going on, because especially in the rural areas, they're trying to teach those people to be sustainable by themselves, but they don't have enough knowledge to know the difference between the hives and how to maintain those hives. They think honey is in all of the combs, and they must just take all of the combs out. Then they think there's honey in all of the combs, but they don't realize that there's also brood in there. The next generation of the colony, you're also destroying that.
Yeah.
They need to be made aware of this, and they need to have training to be able to practice sustainable beekeeping.
That's it. I think one of the other challenges as well for like rural beekeeping, that is, if first of all, it's scale, so people can't really, like, they might have 1 or 2 hives, maybe they got 5 hives if they're lucky. But the trouble is sustaining them throughout the year because of the dearth periods. When you've got food, the bees are producing and they're getting excess honey and all that. And when there's no food, they don't have any honey. And in some cases, they're going to abscond, right? And then that person loses their colony, and then they don't necessarily know how. I mean, if the training hasn't been done properly, then they're not going to necessarily know how to get another colony back or to make a split or whatever the case is, So it is challenging. Yeah, it's challenging. And it's one of the reasons why we run our courses where we do in Midrand, and then we travel sometimes. We've got the online academy, which is helping people where they can't come through to us. People sign on with that. And there's the Blue Book. There's all these avenues, but I just feel like the more of us that are trying to do this and trying to help, the better it's going to get. I just don't think there's enough of us trying to do it actually, and do it well. That's the other thing, because I think there's ways of doing it where you just in it for really just maybe in it for the money, and then there's ways where it's like, okay, we are doing this as a passion, and we want to see this thing work. I think it's very important to look at.
People do have the passion, really, like you say, they just do it for extra income, maybe.
Yeah.
And then maybe they start off well, and then they realize, I have my daytime job, and at nighttime I have to do beekeeping. It's just too much.
That's a lot of work.
Most of them just give up on it and
Yeah.
just sell all the stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, hey. But yeah, man, look, it's exciting because out of, like, let's say, out of 10 people that start, I reckon there's maybe what, 6 or 7 that'll keep hobbyists, 1 to 2 hives, that kind of thing. And then you're probably looking at like 2 or 3 might get 5. What do you reckon? Is that about right? Would you agree? Maybe 1 out of 10 will go more than 20 hives, kind of thing.
I think, well, it's already a full-time job trying to manage 20 hives. If you don't,
Yeah.
especially if you have a daytime job as well.
Yeah.
But going full scale, large scale, then you'll be able to resign your own job and really earn an income from beekeeping. But just from 5 or 20 hives, that's not enough to be able to only be a beekeeper. You really have to take the way out.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, the way you guys have set it up, though, you've bucked that trend. You've kind of broken the mold there on that with your strategy, which I think is awesome. So congrats again to you guys. It's really cool. And on top of that, you're also spreading, the good word about bees. The bee ambassadors, and just sharing your guys' passion and everything with all these kids and their parents and the teachers.
Thank you
It's
so
like,
much.
yeah, it's great to have you on board, man. I think you shared so much with us today, but I'm gonna put you on the spot one more time to give me, in closing, an amazing story, an event, or something funny that happened that you can close off, end off with for the viewers today for World Bee Day. What have you got for us? No pressure.
No. So just after I received my calling, I realized now, okay, I understand why bees are important, and I understand what I have to do now. But how do I start? So then I became a member of the Northern Beekeeping Association. And then I realized, I have to go in front of all of those members, especially the commercial beekeepers, the ones who know everything about beekeeping. And I have to go and stand in front of all of them. And I have to try and inspire them and talk to them about my mission and my vision.
Yeah.
And here I am, only a few months of beekeeping training and knowledge, and to stand in front of all of those people and motivate them and try to ask them for help to start with this project. And do you know what? We really touched so many hearts on that day. And we've received so much support from the Northern Beekeeping Association.
Yeah.
And even from today, they support our project and they help us to spread the word. So we are just really thankful for that.
Yeah, man. I've been a member with them for ages, the Northerns, and they're really helpful guys, man. Really helpful people. So it's a great group. And if you guys are watching today, then make sure I'll put some links below in the description about different beekeeping associations across South Africa that you can join, including Northerns and so on, Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Those are kind of like the main ones at the moment. There's Southerns around as well. But yeah, I'll put the links in that below. And don't forget, guys, if you're watching this, there's our 30-day challenge that's on the YouTube channel at the moment as well, all about starting from why bees and then all the way through to, so far we've got episode 8 on there at the moment about how bees disturb the farming industry. So check that out in the description below and watch those next videos when you get a chance. And give us a like and subscribe so you can watch more of these on World Bee Day. Thanks for having us on your screen, and thanks for joining us, Yolanda. It's been awesome. And
thank you so much,
have links to you guys in the description below as well of this video, okay? So we'll get those from you at the end and put them in for you guys. And look forward to seeing send us some photos or something of you and the kids and whatever, okay? That'd be amazing for us to share, with our community as well.
I will definitely share some with you.
Great. Thanks, Yolanda. All right. Thanks, Amal. thanks for joining us. And how are you going to celebrate World Bee Day, by the way?
I am going to do a talk on Friday. So it's the day before World Bee Day.
Yeah.
But we're also going to the Northern Beekeeping members meeting on World Bee Day. So it's going to be a special day where everybody talks about their inventions and new ways of beekeeping. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, magic, man. Yeah, I love it when innovation comes in, because I think beekeeping is one of those industries for many years hasn't had like a disruption, a disrupted level event of innovation, if that makes sense. The flow hive was pretty big, but it's still a hive, if that makes sense. It was a great invention and pretty good innovation, but I still think there's room. There's room for a decent amount of innovation in beekeeping and especially in the South African industry. What do you?
So can you hear me still?
Yeah.
All right. So at the moment, I'm working for a guy. He wanted me to help him managing his hives.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not really inventing, he's changing the hives by adding a scale into the hive, adding a small hive beetle trap on the floor. He's also adding feeders from the side. So he's changing those hives so we can be able to have a look at those colonies from an app from our phone. So we can manage those colonies. We can see if there's a weight difference, if there's tamper problems, temperature or humidity problems, all from the app. And it just helps us not to open the hives regularly.
Yeah, that's really great innovation. And I mean, I've seen we've got some projects on where we're looking at this similar sort of thing as well for theft, and where you can monitor the movement of a hive. If it goes out of a specific radius of where it's placed, it'll ping you and let you know. So especially in South Africa, where there's so much theft and vandalism.
Yes.
That's also a really innovative way of being able to, but there's a cost attached, but what is the cost of not having it? And if somebody then, comes to steal your stuff or vandalize your stuff. And I think in your guys' case, I've seen this kind of technology around as well. It looks phenomenal, a little bit more expensive, but I think it has its benefits if it's utilized properly, if it's systemized, then you can really start seeing a benefit. What do you think?
It makes up for the hives that you lose when it gets vandalized. So you lose thousands of rands when your hives get vandalized. So if you implement the system, it will help you to save money at the end of the day.
That's it. Overall, yeah. And I mean, then there's also the additional potential of getting full insurance cover if needed.
Yes.
Because then you can prove X, Y, Z was happening and so on and so forth, which makes it a little bit more difficult at the moment with the way beekeeping and beehives are kind of managed around the world, really, with regards to insurance. I mean, a lot of other countries don't necessarily need insurance because, they don't have the likelihood of them being vandalized. Maybe that could happen, but theft, not as much per se, but still can happen. Whereas in South Africa, as we know, it's becoming a bit of a problem.
It's a big problem. They don't realize the effects afterwards when vandalizing or killing the bees. They don't realize how important bees are as pollinators.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just by stealing the honey and selling, that's all that they think about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And then they don't look back at all. And I mean, it can take years to get those hives back, to get back to where you were.
Yes, to get back when thousands of rands that you lose.
Thousands of rands and years of time.
And to get a safe place for your hives to stand, that's a big problem. It's very hard.
That's a big challenge. Yeah. Well, let's work on these ideas. This is where there's room for innovation, right?
Yes. So that's where you have to share with every members meeting with your association. You share all of these ideas and you try to help where you can.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. And it starts making a difference, Yeah, I think it's collaboration and innovation. I think that's going to win the day out, rather than trying to be isolated and secretive, or keep the ideas too closed up.
To yourself. No, of course,
Yeah.
there will be no space to grow if you do that.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. But that's also why we're having these conversations. So thanks again for coming on. So we can spread the
That's a
word,
big thing.
and share ideas, have conversations, and just get people talking as well. I think it's really important. So thanks again for joining us, Yolanda. It's been awesome to have you on. I look forward to getting some pics of you and the kids. All right,
Thank you
doing
so
your
much.
talks. And
I will.
yeah, so cool. All the best, and enjoy World Bee Day, okay?
Thank you, Warwick. Enjoy your bee day as well.
It's a pleasure. Okay, Yolanda. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.